Live on the air, it's Trial Junkies United with your host, Z.
Thank you, Doc. Greetings to my truth seekers and my justice warriors. I'm your storyteller in the wilderness of injustice, and my ride or die Doc is riding shotgun as we navigate the darkness where the predators hunt. Our system fails. We're ready to shine a light on this forgotten stories and that society would rather leave buried. So buckle up. The path ahead gets bumpy as we lead you through another part of the nightmare they call our justice system. Thank you, Pammy. Irish Amy, Sarah, I'm so glad you girls are here. And we've got one for you. We do have a trigger warning, because we're dealing with kids. Just want everyone to be aware. So let's go ahead and get started tonight. We're looking at something that really demands our attention. As advocates for the victims and children's safety, you may have heard of a term called MAP, minor attracted person. It sounds clinical, it sounds academic, but this really is a deliberate rebranding effort, and it needs scrutiny, and we're going to review the facts, okay? Now, the first time I heard it, I was watching, Fala got here. Yay, Fala joined us. First time I heard it, I was watching JD DeLay, and he talked about it, and I was kind of in shock. So, of course, had to look into it. Because when I hear the word map, for some of you youngins, it meant an actual piece of paper. You actually stopped at a gas station, or maybe you got the Riley, it would be the McNally Road Atlas. And these were maps you could get and you could find your way around before we ever had GPS. But what they've done is they've turned this term map to start with online forums where these people talk about their attraction to children, and not in a good way. This was really popularized when the US-based organization Be4U-Act was founded in 2002 to support individuals attracted to children and to destigmatize this attraction. Because the term MAP has since appeared in academic and even clinical literature as a claimed neutral or non-stigmatizing alternative to the word pedophile. According to the National Institutes of Health, let's start with what their verified data says, okay? It says researchers estimate that in our country, about 1 in 6 boys, 1 in 4 girls are abused before turning 18. It's a lot. The National Children's Alliance investigated 236,601 cases of SA abuse in 2023, representing roughly 55% of all instances managed by children's advocacy centers. Those are the ones that are reported, you guys. Those aren't the ones that are not. And a lot of times they don't talk about the lifelong damage, and that's documented. We know that it does, and it's serious. If left untreated, these children can have trauma that results in mental health issues, depression, anxiety, PTSD, behavioral changes that could lead them to substance use disorders, risky even sexual behaviors as they get older. Higher chances of violence against themselves and others, and even physical health problems, depending on how young they were, including infections, injuries, even heart disease or diabetes later in life can come from this abuse. And that's something to think about. The therapists, join us. Okay, sometimes the chat, when I'm chatting, I'm sorry, girls, sometimes I can't pay attention to everything, so I'll try and focus on both. But But the total lifetime economic burden of child sexual abuse in the US in 2015, because those are some of the best. I tell you, some of our data is so bad, you guys. In 2015, estimated to be $9.3 billion. However, the human cost, there isn't a measure. This was a sign actually found in Oregon, which I'm sure JD would absolutely flip his cork over. I about did. That a pedophile group actually put up this sign near a school that said, pedophiles are people too. Yeah. Shows a little
Jeez.
kid and a dude. Sick, isn't it, Doc?
That is just, that's gross.
Yeah, it is. Hey, Racy's here with us. So the term minor attracted person didn't emerge from some neutral academic research. It really came from B4U-Act and is part of a growing movement to legitimize sexual attraction to children. Hey, Matt, thanks for joining us today, sweetheart. This organization has attempted to reframe the name for persons inclined to child SA as minor attracted persons instead of pedophiles. You're pedophiles. Hey, therapist, good to see you, sweetheart. And because what they said is this will decrease the stigma against the group. I'm sorry, you don't need the stigma decreased. You need it ratcheted up. And it's also in other countries. There was a group over in the UK that was also started by someone with the same thing. And I forgot the guy's name. I had the research earlier, but once I found this group, I just kind of focused on them. But it's everywhere, you guys. And this new movement claims that sexual attraction to minors, it's not a psychiatric disorder, but it's an identity, and it needs to be supported. That goes. So this marks a major change from traditional therapy that focuses on risk reduction and harm prevention, because that's usually what they get. Okay. Now, the person was the co-organizer for this group, the B4U Act, was Michael. And let me see if I can find his name. Michael Melsheimer. Yeah. And he has troubling origins, you guys, because this was established in 2003 by him and a guy named Russell Dick. Yes, that is his name. But this dude is Michael, or Scumbucket. And he was a former YMCA director who served 4 years in federal prison for aggravated SA involving children. So this is one of the co-leaders in this group that got started. Yeah. I'd want to follow him, not.
He worked in one of the better hunting grounds for that.
Yeah. And Dick was a former director of a social work at Springfield Hospital Center. So this is not speculation, you guys. These are documented facts. That Scumbucket here was convicted, involved in producing child photos, using children in his care when he was the director of a Pennsylvania YMCA. Now, what's even more troubling is the archived forum posts show him was very active on pedo forums, where he reportedly dismissed concerns from other users about his organizations. He allegedly stated the organization would never attempt to prevent child SA. Yeah, isn't that just heartwarming? Now, I thought we would look at a case. This is Eleanor Hunton Hoppe. And this pattern of predators infiltrating these child-focused organizations, boy, my tongue is in the way tonight. It's not I'm not. Okay. It's not going to happen. So we'll just go with whatever I come up with. Here we go. In 2023, she was a 46-year-old Virginia mother of two. And she was sentenced to over 11 years in prison for distributing child photographs as part of a plot to SA an 8-year-old girl. Now that's bad. But here's where it gets worse. Her background should have made her the last person anyone expected, because she came from a very well-known Virginia legal family. She's the granddaughter of Hunton IV, a former leader of reputable law firm, the Hunton Andrews Kurth, and the ex-wife of a federal judge, Joel Hoppe. Yes, she's the ex-wife of a federal judge. Can you believe it? She was educated at top institutions. She came from money. She worked with several child-centered organizations, including Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and an organization called Ready Kids. But in February of 2023, she connected with an undercover FBI officer on a fetish website. Yeah, that's just icky right there. I just want to shower. And she believed he was a father of this 8-year-old. And she arranged to meet him at a Virginia motel to SA this child that she thought belonged to him. She brought items such as lubricant and children's clothing. But when she arrived at the hotel in March 2023, surprise, surprise, the police arrested her. Thank goodness.
Hooray.
You know, but this is really upsetting because not just her previous work helping children and abuse victims, her ex-husband here, at the time they were divorced in 2021, and they had shared custody. Think about that. At this time in 2023, his girls were 10 and 12. But when they divorced, they were 8 and 10. So her ex-husband got right to court, got the document to get sole custody.
Well, I would hope so.
He got it. Yeah. Hey, Lazy River, thanks for joining us, darling. So now she has to register as a sex offender for only 25 years, not for life. That bothers me. And despite the seriousness of her planned crimes, because yes, she didn't actually go through with it, but she intended to. This case clearly shows why softening the language about child predators is really risky. She exploited her privilege, her status, and charitable work as a cover while planning to abuse children. Hey, Baca, thanks for coming. When we normalize attraction to minors with terms like minor attracted person, we make it easier for people like her to operate. And B4U-Act, however, advances a different model. This group believes that attempts to alter their desires are not just ineffective, but unethical. You heard me right, unethical. And discourages clinicians from diagnosing their clients with being pedophile and having that disorder. Instead, they claim that it's just a sexual age orientation. Yeah. In fact, they want to be put in with the LGBT community, saying this is just how they were born. And so they should be able to integrate and be part of them. But they're criminals. These dudes are criminals. They're harming these children. But this, thank you, Bella. Just for you, sweetheart.
Yes. See if anybody was going to notice that.
No, Pammy did.
Oh, okay.
This therapeutic framework is based on extensive research showing that sexual orientation is not a choice, and that attempts to change it could be harmful to them. So this is really a significant departure from the evidence-based therapeutic practices focused on protecting children. And that's just, you know, they want people to let them do what they do. And it's like, no, we're not going to.
Well, that the whole deal with the even the acronym for, you know, you put a person you put a person at the end of it. The whole thing sounds so, what do I want to call it? PC. That,
yes.
You know, in the day and age in which we live, it's just everything has to be politically correct.
Right. Well, and I mean, I think the situation with this is they're trying to make what they're doing sound okay. And by softening terms, they think people will not look at them. And they're wrong, because we're going to shine our light really bright. About 90% of child SA cases are committed by someone known and trusted by the children. So if we soften language about attraction to children, we could weaken these social barriers that actually does help prevent this vulnerable population. And we don't want that to happen. Some stigmas serve as an essential role, socially reinforcing moral boundaries and safeguarding vulnerable groups. And I hate to tell them, but the LGBT, I'm probably saying it wrong, but they don't want them. They do not want them in their group because they're sickoids. They want these people gone too, because this just, they're trying to mess up their lives too. So we're going to show that there's a clear difference between adults in a consensual relationship and when you have contact with a child, because children cannot give their consent. It's not possible. They're minors. So the softening of that language isn't happening in isolation, because we're talking about it. And like it says, 2.5 times more likely a young person will be abused by an adult. And that is so wrong. We're observing a worrying parallel trend in the state sex offender policies also. And the total number of registered sex offenders reached 800,000 nationwide in 2024. And that's probably the ones that registered. We're not talking about the registered ones that, or the ones that didn't register, you guys. Yeah. So several states are actually loosening the accountability measures. And the connection's clear, because some of this framework that they're setting up by no longer saying that a pedophile is a pedophile, but it's a sexual age orientation, has influenced states like Colorado Sex Offender Management Board, who voted to replace the term sex offender with adults who have committed sexual offenses. Later, they did reverse that decision, because the public in Colorado, they kind of flipped their cork on that one, and I don't blame them. I mean, they've even had these people up in Vermont. There was a campground that the woman who owned the campground said she would never let this group come in, but she did, so that she could go and, make money off of them. Now, this is rape survivor, SA survivor, Kimberly Corbin, and she argued that unlike immutable characteristics, sexual offenses are choices that warrant lasting accountability. Jessica Dotter with the Colorado DA's office counsel expressed concern that the change was an intent to remove the accountability from the offenders and to diminish the experience of the victims. And that's really what it is. No, Fala, you're not going to Go pew pew, anybody. But I would cover your case, honey. Don't worry. But child SA can occur in any community. No community is exempt. We talked about the woman that, hey, she had a ton of money. Look at what kind of sickoid she was. And how many teachers have we been seeing every day? There's teachers, ministers, all these people playing in this field, and it's just disgusting. They have states like Oregon, Washington, New Hampshire. They're noted for having less strict registry requirements. Michigan experienced a landmark ruling that could remove about 17,000 people from their lifetime registration, reducing their registration period to 25 years only. Isn't that terrible? Meanwhile, what's going on right now with the news? It's all about the Epstein files. And we're overlooking the current threats. Now, talking about the Epstein files, we should talk about them because these documents stand for justice for the girls and women who were trafficked and abused by these two people. And that is horrendous. But they reveal a network of influential individuals who either took part in or ignored these crimes against the children. But the survivors involved in these cases, they do deserve our attention and support and accountability for those who hurt them. But to me, what's concerning is we're rightly focused on seeking justice for the past victims while simultaneously allowing the very system meant to protect our children to be quietly dismantled. Because they're trying to dismantle the sex offenders registry. They're trying to put out these groups that say, it's not really a crime. It's how we were born. So it's not we want to take anything away from any of the Epstein victims. No way. I would never do that to those women because they deserve their justice. But it's a situation where are we all interested in the Epstein issue, or is it more of a, what do I want to say? Just the big thing of today that people just want to get the dirt or find the tea on who was involved. Because the same people that are making all this noise, are you this way for all children in every situation? You know, that's my question. The same week, news outlets examined every detail of this Epstein revelations. State legislations continued pushing reforms and weakening the sex offenders registries. Hey, OnlyFan, thanks for joining us, darling. So the same databases that help parents identify risks in their neighborhoods, because I don't know about you guys, but I get notifications. I put them on Next Door Neighbor. So for the neighbors that don't get it, you know, I don't, and I put in there, this is not to harass or to harm because that can get you in trouble if people do that, but it's for education. You need to know that you have someone that's moved into your neighborhood.
Yep. Share that information.
Yeah. So while social media is debating which powerful figures are named in court documents, advocacy groups are maintaining their campaign to rebrand pedophiles as minor attracted persons. So we can see that there's a conflict there. We're not paying attention. It's called squirrel, and we look over here instead of at what these people are doing. And it's not a coincidence. It's a calculated distraction. So the high profile cases like Epstein, they spark the outrage, and that's good. We want people outraged, and it calls for justice. But that energy rarely results in protecting children who are being abused today. And there was a huge case in Alabama where they found out little children were being trafficked. This is horrendous. We have to be paying attention to these cases also. Baka, I'm sorry, honey. I did put a trigger warning in. If it's not a good for you, honey, it's okay. You can come back when we're talking about something else, and I understand it, darling. I do. This one's just a tough subject, but I wanted to get it covered because we got to shine the light on them. So instead, policy changes happen quietly, often framed as evidence-based reforms or trying to reduce the stigma. We're going to show you the stigma. We want you to see what's going on. The sex offender registry isn't perfect, and it does serve an essential purpose. Hey, sweet pea, glad you jumped in and joined us, darling. But it serves an essential purpose, giving parents and communities the information they need to protect children. When states weaken these systems by claiming it's for rehabilitation, they're prioritizing the comfort of the convicted offenders. I need a drink. Oh. Sadly, it's just water. I love you too, Doc. Sadly, it's just water. But okay, they're prioritizing. Thank you. The comfort of the offenders over the safety of the potential victims. Standard features of these reformed systems include reduce or eliminate registration requirements instead of lifelong monitoring, reduce residency restrictions, permitting living close to schools and parks. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't want you next to a school with children. We already saw those freaks that put that one sign up. Limited community notification programs, similar routes of registries, persons first language initiatives that mirror the MAP terminology strategies. Now, this group called WAR, they're Women Against Registry. And their vision is the vision of this organization is to abolish the multiple registries across the nation. These are women, because Women Against Registry also seeks to restore life, health, and freedom to all individuals who have been injured by the requirements of registration.
So if they give birth to a child, yes, and that person gets essayed by one of these wonderful persons,
creepolas,
how are they going to feel about that?
That might be the problem.
Yeah.
That might be the problem. And this, like they said, 66% of all sexual offenses are young people. 66%, you guys. But the Bureau of Justice Statistics have found that these sex offenders were more than 3 times as likely as other released prisoners to be arrested for SA, yet reform efforts continue to prioritize offender rehabilitation over victim protection. It's like, what about the victims? They're worried about them being harassed. These victims live with this for life. It does not go away. We don't know the damage mentally and physically that has happened to them. And this is wrong. So now we're going to talk about a case that happened back in 2023. It happened in Oklahoma. And this is truthfully a case where I know they want us to think that the mother was naive. I have a hard time with it. And as we go over the case, you guys tell me. Because this is what happens with these reformed policies, okay? In April of 2023, convicted sex offender Jesse McFadden committed a horrific deletion and self-deletion in Henrietta, Oklahoma, where 7 people lost their lives, including him. He took out his wife, Holly McFadden, and his 3 stepchildren, Tiffany Guess, Michael Mayo, and Riley Allen. He also deleted their 2 friends who had had a sleepover that night, a 14-year-old named Ivy Webster and Brittany Brewer, who was also 14. Now, the thing you have to know is Holly knew he was in prison for SA. Yeah, she knew. But she went ahead, and when he got out of prison, she dated him and brought him into her home with her children. She allowed other people's children to come spend the night. All the victims, except for McFadden, died from weapons, wounds to the head with bullets. Yeah. The medical examiner found that Ivy and Brittany also had injuries, the two girls that slept over, of SA. That's right. He SA'd the friends. The sad thing was they found through the research that he had been SAing the stepchildren. And this is a clear example, you guys, of the failure of our system. He was a repeat sex offender who had been in prison for 17 years for first degree SA. He was released after only completing 85% of his sentence. Exactly the kind of let's rehabilitate him policy that advocates support. Even more concerning, he had pending charges when they let him out for sexting a minor from prison with a phone that he had got a hold of while in prison for SA. Yes. And he was scheduled to appear in court the day after the deletions. So he knew he was going back. The investigation revealed that he actually, though, had planned these crimes against these children. On April 26, he purchased restraint equipment from Walmart. On April 28th, he sent grooming text messages about sexual education to one of his to his two stepdaughters, that they would have to help these other girls. So in other words, he had been attacking them, and they actually let their friends come over. Now, they were children, they were teens, and had been being abused by this man. So it's hard to be upset with them. I'm upset with the mother.
Yeah, but mom, did mom have something wrong with her?
Oh, I think mom did.
Because that is just not even within the realm of reality for someone to be okay with that.
No. And they said there was so much stuff, handcuffs and all sorts of stuff all over this house, that there is no way she did not know some of that stuff was there. I'm sorry she lost her life. I really am. But I'm upset that she allowed anybody's children to come into that home. And these other parents did not know he was an offender. So on April 29th, he researched handcuffs in sex shops. Evidence shows he had been abusing his stepdaughter, Tiffany, and was planning to expand the abuse to other children. Most shocking of all, you guys, he didn't even appear on Oklahoma's sex offender registry, even though he was registered federally. He was not registered within the states. So even if those other parents had checked the registry for their state, he would not have been on it.
Yeah.
I want you all to think about that. So there's two registries. There's your state and there's a federal one, which means you have to check both. And this is precisely the kind of gap that occurs when states weaken the registry system. Holly McFadden may not have fully realized everything going on with this dude, but she actually had been warned, because she was also a pen pal with another inmate who told her what this guy was. But of course, he told her that they were all lies. You know, honey, get the court reports. Come on, get a clue. If you're being told by another convict, stay away from this guy, and she continued, got a problem. The main goal should always be protect the children from danger. But the system failed to give her and the community the information that they needed to make that choice. So those other parents, they wouldn't have found this information. Ivy Webster's family just recently had found out some of this additional information, and her grandmother, honey, she put it on air because she taped the conversation, and I don't blame her. And so, Sarah, yeah, you do. You have to get you an exit plan. And when a woman leaves a guy, it is the most dangerous time. You can't warn them that you're leaving. You can't say, I'm going to go. That has to be done in secret. Because once they're warned, it gets worse. And we don't want people to get hurt. But this is a situation where she brought somebody else's children into it, not just her own, which was bad enough. But Ivy's parents and family are advocating for legal reforms, including requiring sex offenders to serve their whole sentence. And Ivy and Brittany are the two main pictures there. They're the two girls that spent the night and were deleted. And her grandmother said, we haven't even started to heal. They want stronger protections for children. They released that audio calling for the stricter laws. And this case really shows why the Webster family is calling for reforms. So this group maps women against registries. Here, this whole family would not have lost their children if that registries had been correct, if there had been one registry. And the increased public awareness about sex offenders in communities, when we put an offender's comfort ahead of child safety, children are the ones that suffer, you guys. Children. And that's why I have a problem with groups like WAR and the sleaze bucket that we talked about earlier, Michael Sleaze Bucket. But thoroughly research someone who has access to your children, such as ministers, teachers, camp counselors. If you have a romantic partner, check them out. Check both state and federal sex offender registries, as McFadden's case demonstrated that someone might not appear on the state one. Here is a thing that shows you a couple of Intellus and Truthfinder background checks, people. Usually you can get on there, you can get a low monthly fee, get on there every once in a while, whatever you need. Check the people that associate with your children. Be aware that many parents might not even know the full criminal history of people in their household, because Holly didn't believe his criminal history. Yeah, didn't believe it. But you, as the parents, the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, don't be afraid to get on one of these programs like Truthfinder or Intelligence and check it out. Check out the people. Check out the minister. Check out the camp counselor. I don't care. If your child's going to spend the night at someone's house, check them out. Find out, is there an older brother in the house? I mean, we literally had friends that they had 4 girls. They were never allowed to spend the night at anybody's house if there were male siblings in the house. That was just their rule. They did not let their kids, they were too scared to do that. So if you really want to date or plan to marry some convicted sex offender who has targeted children, introducing your children into that environment is going to be a huge risk. Past behavior, particularly repeated offenders, because he was a repeat offender, indicates future risk. If she had just gone to even the warden and said, this is what I'm thinking of, he probably would have told her, lady, you're nuts. Personally, if you're divorced and you bring someone like that into your home, and this is my feeling, give custody to the other parent. If that person means so much to you over your children, go ahead and let them live with the other parent, because you're not looking out for them. You're not, if you're going to bring a sex offender of children into the house, yeah, you're not looking out for them. Hey, film freak, thanks for coming in. Better education is needed about the dangers of repeat offenders. And these repeat offenders, that's why we're seeing guys that are like 70 and 80 and they're still getting caught. They don't stop. And women are just as bad. I'm not just picking on the dudes. We're seeing more and more women. I don't know what Kool-Aid they're drinking, but I want none of it. Communities need improved tools and information to protect the children from individuals who have shown they pose an ongoing threat to minors. Now, I know there are cases, and I'll be honest, where, and usually it happens in a divorce, where there are false accusations. That can happen. There was a recent case that I was looking into, and it was over a divorce, and the mother got the daughter to say something that was not true. And he actually went to prison, but he eventually got out. So it does happen.
But in a case like that, you would have to use some common sense if you're either the judge or whatever, and find out what that accusation spawned from.
Yeah. So, and I mean, and truthfully, kind of like JD says, if you make a false accusation, you should go serve the time.
Yep.
Hey, you wanted them to go to prison. I guess you can take their place because you're a liar. So people that lie about these things, because children that are abused, only 0.5 up to 5% ever tell a false story. Usually it involves something like a child custody case. If it's not a child custody case, they don't lie. You have to listen to the children.
But OnlyFan makes a really good point there. Thinking about the children rather than their own selfish needs. Well,
yeah,
that's a big part of the problem is that people are selfish. They don't think about anybody but themselves.
They want a relationship.
Yeah.
They're not thinking about this person that they're bringing into their children's lives.
Yep.
So that's really okay. Yeah, Baca, it's true. They do. But with McFadden, as he was released while facing new charges for crimes against minor committed while he was in prison, that's really demonstrates how the system failed. Why was he paroled if he was already having another charge of what he was doing in prison? Maddie Soto, great example, Racy. Yeah, that mother knew what was happening. You'll never convince me otherwise. She deliberately sent her daughter upstairs to sleep with that man. Yeah, these women are nuts, and they shouldn't. If you don't want to be responsible for a child, if your life is more important than your child's, let them go to the other parent or another relative. Quit being selfish. The legitimate researchers and clinicians who work with these populations maintain clear distinctions. Traditional therapeutic methods focus on helping the individual control their harmful impulses while prioritizing a child's protection. And that's different from this affirmative approach that they're trying to get everybody to look at by viewing attraction to children as some identity to accept rather than the risk factor that needs to be managed. Most vital voices in this debate are those of survivors. That's who we need to listen to. Oh, it's me doing slides, lazy. It's me. I get to talk and I forget to punch the button. The research consistently demonstrates the devastating lifelong effects of the childhood SA. One key finding is that earlier the abuse starts, the more severe and prolonged it is, the more it worsens their PTSD symptoms. And it can cause them to persist over time. And we don't even know all the things because every person is different in how they react. Sadly, there are those children that actually will delete themselves or as adults make attempts.
Mm-hmm. Now,
Well,
that's a point, that racing makes. I mean, has that really been studied? And because if you don't have them, you don't have the feeling, So
yeah, that doesn't mean if they're not creeps that they can't use other items, people.
Yeah,
I'm just saying it will stop them, but wicked people do wicked things. And someone that would do that to a child, that's a wicked person. I know Louisiana, they have that law, and they're supposed to do it to some dude as soon as he gets done with his prison sentence. Instead of giving him the drug, they're actually physically going to castrate him. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to do medical. They're actually going to get the sharp instruments out. So approximately 1 in 5 women have experienced childhood SA. Many survivors say that delayed disclosure has negatively impacted their mental health. And yeah, child protection has to stay our top priority. So these policies that are focusing need to be on child safety. Why do they offer a favor those who have harmed children while making it harder for the parents to protect their families? Let's protect the guy that committed the crime? I don't think so. Film freak, no, she was not that naive. She knew what she was doing. She just didn't care. Sadly, it didn't seem like anybody cared for that child. They all stood up in court and talked about how great she was, but where were they when she needed them? So this means supporting evidence-based prevention programs, ensuring therapeutic methods prioritize child safety, upholding the clear legal and moral boundaries, strengthening, not weakening, our community notification systems. Speak out against these people that want to get rid of them. Focusing on survivors' voices and experiences. If they want to tell their story, it's hard, but we need to listen because they need to be able to get that out. They'll get it out when they're ready. Some may never be able to tell, and that's okay too. But if they need to, pull up your bootstraps and listen. Investing in trauma-informed care for individuals who have been harmed. From rebranding these pedophiles as maps to weakening sex offender registries, the pattern's clear. They're favoring the predators over our children. While organizations promote minor attracted person terminology to reduce that stigma around children attraction, states are weakening our systems that are meant to inform communities about these offenders. Language matters because it's perception and policy. When we examine the origins of the MAP terminology and its agenda, we see it's not about compassionate care. It's about normalization for the offender. OnlyFan, you're right. We have to give them a safe space. Our responsibility is clear. Protect the children, support the survivors, and uphold the social and legal system that defends society's most vulnerable members. The facts speak for themselves, you guys. We don't need to rebrand reality to protect children. We got to face it head on and respond appropriately. When we hear of these cases where they're not doing their thing, don't be afraid to send an email to the DA. If they're doing these plea deals, especially on child cases, send an email to the judge, send an email to the DA. Don't be afraid to. Get your voices heard. Okay, let's talk about some of our missing people. We have our first one tonight is actually, he's 65. His name is David Closhue. Okay.
Maybe.
Sounds good. 5'9". He weighs 200 pounds, brown eyes, brown hair. He was last seen wearing a black t-shirt, blue jeans, and a gray baseball cap. David was last seen in Fort Defiance, Arizona on July 25th. He was traveling in a red 2017 Toyota RAV4 four-door with Arizona license plate CAF78116DDD. He takes medication and experiences severe anxiety. David's known to abuse alcohol. If you see him or know his whereabouts, contact the Navajo Police Department in Window Rock District at 928-871-6111 or 6112. Suicide. Sarah, I wish we could. That's why I try not to use some of those words, but if you do, you never get monetized. So it's a catch-22 where we're caught if we aren't careful. And but I agree with you. I'm right there with you, because trust me, these kids, if they have been abused, have seen worse than a word. Our next person is Katrina, and she went missing on February 20th. She's 23 years old. Her name's Katrina Fanny Lucy. Katriana Fanny Lucy Green. And I apologize for butchering that. From Anchorage, Alaska. She's 23 years old. She is indigenous. She has brown eyes and brown hair. She's a beautiful girl, 5'5", 136 pounds. She's not been in contact with her family, and her cell phone goes straight to voicemail. And that's since February, you guys. She's been missing since February 20th. If you have any information, please contact the Anchorage Police Department at 907-786-8900. She does have a case number of 25-000-6141. Or call 911, call your local police if you're in another state. Our next person is Winter Cassia Carmina. She's 29 from Bismarck, North Dakota. She went missing on December 30th. And she has the number M is Michael, P is in Paul of 147032. She's enrolled with the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe. She was last seen near the 1500 block of North 16th Street in Bismarck, North Dakota. Okay, my slide's not working. There it is. Okay. According to family and friends, she's not been in contact since that date. She has black hair, brown eyes. She's 5'5", 180 pounds. Her last communication with her mom was on December 30th. If you see her, know her whereabouts, contact the Bismarck PD at 701-223-1212. She could be in Bismarck or the Mandan area of North Dakota. Any information, contact the police. Winter went missing at the end of December and hasn't been heard of. Her family is worried about her. She's the mother of 2 little girls. Her mother's doing everything she can to find her. And like I said, she's a member of the Standing Rock tribe and has contacts in McLaughlin, Mobridge, Little Eagle, and Cheyenne River areas. Please share the post. Let's not forget her. Next, this young man is Anton Ross, 17, from Kenner, Louisiana. He's actually from Georgia. He was visiting family in Kenner, Louisiana. And according to the police, on June 30th, you guys, we're in August, between 8:30 and 9 p.m., Anton was seen meeting with an unknown individual in a gray Infiniti at the intersection of Salem Street and 27th Street in Kenner. He's 6'4". He weighs 145 pounds. He has black hair, brown eyes, and he was last seen wearing a black hoodie with a red polo logo and gray pants. People are saying he was deleted and thrown into the water of the Huey P. Long Bridge. His family has even asked if anyone's got boats so that they can go look in the river. That breaks my heart. He's 17. So please, if anybody has seen Anton, or the Gray Infinity, contact Detective Catherine Strowowski with the Kenner Police Department Criminal Investigation Division, 504-712-2222, or Crime Stoppers at 504-822-1111. 4 ones. Okay? I tell you, we've got to find these people. We got to start caring about each other because we're all part of the same family. Well, you know what? That's just the way it is. If I cut you, we all bleed the same color. Oh, Lazy, that is so sweet of you. I hope they do get some people with boats that can help them. I appreciate everybody being here. I want you all to remember that every predator relies on your silence. Don't be the reason we have to share another story on this channel. If you see something, speak up, because those weren't just statistics. They're real children, and they need our protection. Until next time, I want you to stay informed. I want you to stay vigilant. Seek justice for the most vulnerable among us. Suppose you or someone you know has been affected by child SA. In that case, there are resources available through National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, RAIN, and local children's advocacy centers. Doc will list some of them in our information. And remember the hashtag that we're going to start using. It's hashtag silence is betrayal. So if we know something and don't say anything, silence is betrayal. Thank you, Sarah. Baca is another one. Right. And there are organizations out there. There is one that is a motorcycle club that is out there for children, and also ones that are out there for bikers for trafficking. Thank you, OnlyFan. And they are awesome groups. The Bikers Against Child Abuse, they actually will go to court with these children. And to me, that's awesome. They really take care of these kids and help them. A film freak, yeah, speak out. Don't be afraid to. Like I said, email. It's your friend. Don't be afraid to let your voice heard. There are times we do calls to action, and we do put out emails and whatever we can. So this is something we need to do, not just because someone has a big name like Epstein. It's not we want the tea. We want justice for the children. And that's what we have to remember. Justice for the children. So thank everybody for being here tonight. I love all of you guys. If you like what we do, you can buy us a coffee. But if you're in a financial situation you can't, please do not feel guilty, because by being here, you support us. By clicking you like, you support us. Making a comment after Doc does his mojo, because usually it takes the next day before it comes out. So do your mojo, make a comment. That supports us. So I don't want to put a guilt trip on anybody. That is not my thing. But I love you all. And we'll see you Thursday with another show. And love you guys. Ciao. Mwah.
Little voices need our ears to listen. Tiny hands need ours to guide them. In this world of shadows, we must protect them. Every child deserves a brighter day. We are the watchers, we are the guardians, standing strong between them and harm. Every child's safety is our mission. We will keep them safe within our arms. protect our children. They're the light of our future. Stand as their defenders through the darkest night. Every small heartbeat, every dream they hold is worth more than silver, worth more than gold. We protect our children and make their world secure. Give them hope and healing, love that will endure. Listen to their stories, believe what they say. Create safe spaces where they can play. Education, awareness, and prevention are key. Building a world where children can be free. We protect our children. They are our future's light. Stand as their defenders through the darkest night. Every child deserves to dream and grow up strong. This is where our hearts and voices belong. We protect our children, this we swear, with vigilance and love. We'll always care for every child in every place. We'll be the shield, we'll be the grace. Their future's bright, their spirits free. This is our solemn guarantee.